am Carissa Wiley from sprinkledwithglitter.com, and I am so happy that you are all here. You are making my day just so complete. We're going to do some crafting, we're going to do some chatting, and it's Saturday. We have a little time, so we're going to take our time with this process, and we're going to do a little watercoloring of hot foiled images. Now, if you saw my Instagram stories, you've kind of gotten a sneak peek, and I have to tell you, I sat down and I was getting ready to hit go live, and part of this collection, I didn't have all of it. Part of it was just delivered at the mailbox, and I contemplated going live like 3 minutes later to go get the rest of it so we could maybe pull it in, but I was like, I don't want to be late. So it's just driving me crazy that the rest of this collection is sitting in my mailbox and I can't use it today. So go figure. I have a couple of things I want to say before we get into it. We're going to be using the Spring and Kyoto collection from Alex Siberia and Spellbinders. We're going to do, as I mentioned, some watercolor on hot foiled images. It's going to be so much fun. And like I said, it's just kind of like a relaxed, chatty craft together today. I saw a couple of you are already doing some things as I'm here live, and I think that's so much fun. I think Cindy said she's making foam panels. Maybe it was Cindy. And someone's, Daily Creations making foam panels. And then Anne is doing her C9 summer camp homework. So that's so much fun. A great way to kind of craft and chat and do some things along with me. So I hope you're getting an opportunity to craft along today on a Saturday. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video by giving it a thumbs up, and then I love it when you chat along. I also wanted to tell you that all the links for the products that I'm using today, and even more, the whole collection is linked down below. But in addition to this being available at Spellbinders, it's also available at other retailers. And I got an email this morning from scrapbook.com. And if you purchase over there today, you can save an additional 12% off of your purchase using the code FUN. So FUN is the code over at scrapbook.com. Those tend to be like the second link down on my link list if you're looking. Don't forget, I also have that visual supply list. So if you click the visual supply list, it will bring up, pictures of the products, and then you can click on those. Jenny says that she would wait for me to go get my products. You guys, I would have to drive down to the mailbox. And I don't want to do that to you. I mean, what am I going to do with you while I do that? So I appreciate that. But I think I have a good idea of what I'm going to do with what I have. So maybe we can create again with those additional products. I'm kind of one of those full set girls. And so I wanted this entire collection because it's so adorable. Another thing, I have 3 more Shine Bright tumblers left in the shop. So if you haven't got yours, I have a link to that also below. So go over there and pick up your Shine Bright tumbler. I will be closing my shop while I'm gone over the next few weeks because we've got some traveling going on, here and there. It's like my husband's gone, then I'm gone, and then we're gone together and all of this stuff. So I can't be fulfilling orders when I do that. So let's get down to the desktop, shall we? I didn't even move my thing over here. This is a look at what I have of the Spring and Kyoto collection. I'm going to just bring your brightness up just a little bit because I think it could stand to be a little bit brighter on my end anyway. And I really wanted to focus on these Kokeshi dolls. Now, this is the press plate set that I'm going to be using today. And remember, press plates can be used with either your Betterpress system or your Glimmer hot foil system. So these are really versatile. You can also use them to make an impression with your Anna Griffin Impress machine. I actually have a pre-recorded video coming demonstrating that on Monday, how to make a impression with a press plate using your Anna Griffin Impress machine. So it'll show you that. Second, this one is currently sold out. This is the die set. So this is a press plate. This is the die set. This one's currently sold out over at Spellbinders, but it's available at scrapbook.com. This is the Blossoms and Sentiments, which I think is so much fun. We're going to use this today. And I realized these are one-piece florals and a one-piece die that go with them. Hi, Erica. Welcome. And then the Parasols background, which is also a press plate, so you can hot foil with this, you can better press with this, or you can make an impression. Really beautiful. What I did not get was the stencil, and so I reordered this on scrapbook.com because they had the stencil in stock and Spellbinders did not. So what's sitting in my mailbox is the cherry blossom background as well as the stencil that colors in this parasol background. You cannot use press plates with the Gina K fuse. That is, no, press plates are with a hot foil system, so not with the fuse. The fuse system takes what's called a reactive foil, like a toner reactive foil, and it reacts with the polyglaze or toner sheets. So Carrie, keep that in mind. The fuse is not compatible with press plates. And then finally, the Floral fans, which is a 3D embossing folder that has all of these little fans. I think the whole collection is just done so well. Hello, Christine, here from Pennsylvania. I'm so glad you're here. So what I want to talk about, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my Glimmer hot foil machine, and we're going to get that going. And here's something we talk about a lot. We talk about cardstock a lot because cardstock really does make a difference. And for today, especially because we want to watercolor, I want to talk about cardstock for just a second because we have two techniques going on, which makes it even more important that we use the right cardstock. Now, Concord and 9th this is Concord and 9th right here. This is generally my favorite cardstock for ink blending, for hot foiling. It works fantastic. But I'm going to show you something on this. If you try to watercolor, because it is just a standard cardstock, there's no like coating on it. What happens is these dye-based markers will soak right into the cardstock right away, and you're not going to be able to really spread out that color. So while it's good for foiling, it's not great for watercolor. Okay, this is Bristol Smooth cardstock. It is a smooth white cardstock. It's also fantastic for watercolor, especially with like markers like this. But here's what I find with Bristol. It's not truly like a watercolor cardstock. So while you can spread the color out because it is coated, the color tends to go like super far on Bristol, and I tried it out ahead of time. It does foil rather well, but if you go over Bristol too much with water, you can make the cardstock pill, which makes it like not great for if you're going to use a ton of water. So this might work if you're just going to barely blend out the color and then you're going to stop there. If you want to layer color with watercolors, then a watercolor cardstock is great, but a lot of watercolor cardstocks are very textured. And so that makes it more difficult to foil. So remember, we're looking for a cardstock that's great to foil, but also will take plenty of water. And those two things are generally not like in the same cardstock. So I started going through my stash of watercolor cardstocks and looking for the smoothest one I have. Now you can see this is definitely an ivory color. It's the Arches Hot Press Watercolor Cardstock. And let me show you that it does watercolor rather well. Because it is a watercolor cardstock, it's going to take plenty of water. And I experimented with this ahead of time, and I found that it actually foils rather well. Because it's a hot press watercolor cardstock, it's smoother than a cold press. So I would not recommend a cold press watercolor cardstock for this technique at all, but it seems like the Arches Hot Press Watercolor Cardstock worked for what I wanted. I experimented ahead of time, and so that's what I'm going to hot foil on today. Now, the smoother the better when it comes to hot foiling, but it doesn't, like I said, the watercolor doesn't necessarily work on every kind of cardstock. You can see that that dye-based marker, it soaked right into the paper. You can't get it to move. On the Smooth Bristol, it worked really well, but over time, if you're scrubbing over the surface of Smooth Bristol, it will eventually pill, and so I didn't want to take that risk. So we're going to use Arches Hot Press Watercolor Cardstock today. All right, So we've talked about cardstock because cardstock is important. Remember, if you're not getting great results with some sort of technique that you're trying, it could be your cardstock. When you're watercoloring, you want to make sure that you're using something that's compatible with watercolors. You don't want to use like your ink blending cardstock necessarily because they're not necessarily going to fall into the same thing. So when you're Copic coloring, it can also be really important that you're using the right kind of cardstock to get the results that you want. Okay, have we talked about cardstock enough? All right, I hope you're clear on that, and I hope that kind of opens up like a little bit of way of thinking for you. So what you may need to do is you may need to experiment before you move into like your final project. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all 3 of these Kokeshi doll press plates and I'm going to lay them on my Glimmer hot foil platform. Now you saw me turn it on. It is now ready because that second light here that says platform ready is illuminated. So I know that it's reached its full heat. It's ready to foil. So then I can lay my press plates on my hot foil system with the press plates facing face up, and then you can hit the timer button and let that just run. Now, while I'm doing the timer, let me make sure, are all 3 of these going to fit on here? Yes. I have some pre-cut pieces of Arches hot press watercolor cardstock. So I'm going to let that heat up, and then what I would normally do is I would prepare my foil. Now, I go ahead and take my rolls of hot foil, especially the ones that I use a lot. I trim them down into like 5.5-inch sheets. So they're about the size of an A2 size card front. And then I just store them in a stamp pocket. And so I'm going to take one of these sheets of, this is the champagne hot foil. It's my favorite gold hot foil. And I'm going to take it out and get it ready for my hot foiling. Now, the other thing that I need to do is get my Platinum 6 die cut machine because that is what the Glimmer hot foil system is compatible with. There are some other die cut machines on the market, like the Gina K Intricate, and I believe the Spellbinders is compatible with the Glimmer hot foil system. But if you're in question about your die cut machine, you want to know if this Glimmer hot foil system is compatible with it, then I would go over to the Spellbinders website. They actually have a little place where you can look up compatibility. So check that before you purchase. All right, so now I have my Platinum 6. My timer has completed its whole run through, and that's because it has stopped blinking and now it's solid. So then I'm going to take my platform, I'm going to remove it from the base, and I'm going to move this over to my Platinum 6, and I'm going to add my foil with the pretty side facing the pattern of my press plate. Then I'm going to take the smoothest side of my cardstock, so I just kind of feel it, and I think it's this side, and I'm going to lay that right on top. And then I'm going to grab the thin shim and the spacer pad that come with the Glimmer hot foil system, and I'm going to place this on top of my sandwich, and I'm going to run that through my die cut machine. Carrie asked, so can you use press plates and hot foil plates on the Glimmer? Yes, you can. Press plates and hot foil plates are compatible on the Glimmer. Press plates are compatible on the Betterpress system. Hot foil plates are not compatible on the Betterpress system. So a lot of companies are going away from even making just hot foil plates, and they're making just press plates because you could use them on both. So, but if you have hot foil plates in your stash, you can definitely use those on the Glimmer hot foil system. Okay, so now I've run that through my die cut machine, and I have my 3 little Kokeshi dolls all hot foiled onto that Arches hot press watercolor cardstock. Don't those look great? I think these are so cute. Alex did such a great job with this. Like I said, I don't know if you saw this in my stories, but this collection was not actually sent to me. I purchased this collection because I saw it. Oops. And I thought it was so adorable. I'm not actually done with that. Oh my goodness. And I have on cute today at all. I'm in like this muumuu style dress, but it's Saturday and it's hot, and I didn't want to dress up, so this is what I'm in today. You're getting the real deal. This is Saturday Carissa right here. Okay. I'm going to take my press plates and pick them up with the little magnetic helper tool that comes with the Glimmer hot foil system. And I'm going to go ahead and foil the blossoms from this Blossoms and Sentiments. So I'll put those on here. And maybe the thank you and love you sentiments. Let's just do that. The platform is ready, so I'm going to hit the timer. I'm going to let that heat up. I'll get that ready. My cardstock and my hot foil. Good morning, Irma. Welcome. I'm going to do that one, and let's just do the parasol background. I don't think I'm going to use it today, but we'll go ahead and hot foil it so that y'all can get an idea of what it looks like, okay? So we'll get our cardstocks ready for both of those things. We'll just let this run through. Does anybody have questions on hot foiling? I would love to answer those for you. I'm going to move my little Kokeshi dolls out of the way. I think these are so stinking cute. Look how cute they are. Now, I'm not going to use all three of these today. I did want to foil all three of them. I just don't think that y'all want to sit around here and watch me color for like 2 hours. I don't think it would take me 2 hours, but you know what I'm saying. I don't think you want to sit around for that long for me to do all three, but I wanted to foil all three because they're so stinking cute. Okay, so my timer is done. I'm still working on my coffee this morning. I actually slept really good last night. So I'm going to take my platform, remove it from the base. I'm going to take it over to my Platinum 6 machine. I'll add my foil with the pretty side facing the pattern of my press plates. Then I have my Arches Hot Press watercolor cardstock. I'm going to lay that on top. And then my thin shim and my spacer pad. And then I'll run that through. Daily Creation says, my hot foil plate timer never worked. Does anyone know how long the timer is? I think it's about a minute. Carrie asks, would you purchase the Glimmer or the Fuse? This is also confusing for me. Well, I don't have the Fuse, so I can't really speak to it. It just depends on whether you want to use toner-based products, like the pre-printed polyglaze patterns and that sort of thing, and maybe create your own with a toner-based printer, like a laser printer, or if you want to use press plates. So if you're finding yourself loving press plates, then you need a hot foil system like the Glimmer. But if you're wanting to use like the patterns of the polyglaze, then you'll want to get the Fuse. The other thing you can use the Fuse for, and I know this because I've had a similar product in the past called the Mink from Heidi Swap. Excuse me. The other thing is that you can use the Fuse as a laminator tool. So just keep that in mind. Julie says she likes the Glimmer. So I'm familiar with all of it because I've done it in the past, but what I find myself using more right now are items with press plates. And when I designed the Shine Bright line with Spellbinders, let's time this. Okay, it's 21:46. So we'll look at what time this goes off, Daily Creation, so we know. Oh, you brought, what is this? Oh, this is not the order I thought it was. Okay, never mind. Is there another order in the mail? Nope. Oh, Mr. Glitter's here. You're not disrupting me. Anyway, when I designed my Shine Bright collection, I designed press plates in that. So I really love the Glimmer hot foil system. It is one of my favorites. And so, you know, that's just how it is. So we're going to let this heat up. We were at 21, about 45, 46 when I started it. We'll wait and see when it turns off, Daily Creations. Now keep in mind, this hot foil plate has a lot of surface area. It's a very solid plate. 21, yep, it was about a minute exactly, Daily Creations. So it has a lot of surface area. So I'm gonna, even though the timer has run its course, I'm gonna give it like another few seconds on here just to kind of do its thing and make sure it gets heated up completely. Debbie Haney says, does the Platinum 6 have a sandwich printed on the platform for embossing with a cover plate die? No, but it has embossing with a die. So that's the same thing. So it wouldn't be specific to a cover plate, but with a die is the same thing. All right, so now that this has had another moment to kind of heat up, I'm gonna remove it from the platform, from the base. I'm gonna add my hot foil with the pretty side facing towards the pattern of the press plate, and then I'm gonna grab we're using, remember, watercolor cardstock, but we're using a hot press because we want a watercolor on it and we want a foil on it. And then I'm going to grab my thin shim and my spacer pad and run this through. Valerie says you can do more with the Glimmer machine, in my opinion. It depends. I mean, like, they're like apples and oranges. I know it seems like it's all foiling, but it really is. Do you want, I'm not really familiar with how many designs are available in polyglaze and toner sheets and all that. So I really can't speak to that. So it's just kind of what designs, if you find yourself drawn to some of these press plate designs, then maybe the Glimmer hot foil system is where you want to go. Now here's what I want to show you. We are using a subpar cardstock for foiling. And the reason I can tell that is because some of these really solid areas of the parasols did not transfer all the way. So just keep that in mind. This is not the cardstock I would use if I was foiling and ink blending. This is only using it because we want a watercolor as well. Now at first glance, nobody really sees that. I see it, but look, I mean, I still have great results. Okay, so now I think we're done with our hot foiling. We can turn off our Glimmer hot foil system because it does make some heat in the craft room. We're gonna set that aside and we're going to place the Platinum 6 over here. Carrie, this is how I would make my decision. Follow your heart in the designs that you see that you're liking. Are more of the designs that you see that you're liking, because in the end, it really is what you enjoy. Are the designs that you're seeing and you're liking, are they more in press plates or are there more in the polyglaze toner sheets? That's how I would maybe advise you to go about it. And so maybe that's a good way for you to kind of think of it. Now, Karin markers and hot foil. The hot foil is gonna kind of resist the dye-based inks that we put on top of it. Now, when I chose what I'm using to watercolor today, I chose something that was dye-based. And the reason that I chose something that was dye-based is that I want it to kind of be a translucent finish. I want it to move with water, but if I were to use a pigment-based watercolor, like an artist grade actual tube watercolor from some of the manufacturers that are out there, those actually have pigments in them. And pigments can finish off more cloudy, more granular, more opaque. And so I don't necessarily want to use like an artist grade watercolor for this. I want to use something that's going to be dye based. So even like fresh dye inks from Altenew would work really well for this technique. So keep that in mind. I've picked out a few colors ahead of time. I have some water here, and we're just going to like walk our way through just an enjoyable, leisurely painting. And I think I'm going to use this gal here in the center with like her little Mickey Mouse buns. I think like buns like this. I think she's so cute. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to trim these apart just so I can work with the one that I want to work with. And then I'll die cut her at the end, and then I'm not gonna mess up on accident any of these others. I'm also going to watercolor these blossoms, but what I wanna do is bring you guys in just a little bit closer, just a little bit closer so that you can kind of see what I'm doing, okay? And I'm also trying to keep my head out of this, so let's do this. Debbie says, please remind me about the interchangeability between glimmer plates and press plates. So press plates can be used with your Betterpress system and your foil system. Glimmer plates or hot foil plates can only be used, it's in the name, with the hot foil system. So if it's a press plate, it's compatible with both. If it's a foil plate, just with the foil system. So hopefully that helps. Erica said, saw your Instagram earlier. So excited to see an appearance soonish from Mr. Glitter. Yes. We talked about that yesterday on the way. We had to go to Southern California for a bit. And he was like, yeah, I need to come back. I said, they all really want you to come back. And he said, I will totally do that. So I'm using some really fine watercolor brushes from Altenew. These have like really super, there's like a 3/0. I'm not an expert on watercolor. 1, 6, 2, and a 4. Okay. So that's what I'm using today. Excuse me. And I'm going to start out by laying down some base color. Now there's 2 ways you can do this. Let me grab a scrap of that watercolor cardstock. Do I have it over here? Sorry, you guys are super zoomed in, and so you're getting like a really zoom in of my scar on my arm. There's 2 ways you can do this. You can add, there's more than 2. You can add the color down and spread it out with water. You're gonna get a little bit of hard lines where you actually add, or you can add water, add your color, and then that color is going to kind of float out wherever the water is. So if you want a softer line, do you see how you can see kind of the edges of where my marker ended here on this one? If you want a softer line, then start by putting down just the smallest bit of water. So I'm going to take some water and I'm going to wet my little Kokeshi doll, her face here. And I'm going right over the foil. I'm not going to hurt the foil. I'm just getting this a tiny bit damp so that I don't get any harsh lines, okay? And then I'm going to take this marker. This is the Skin 1.200. I don't know. And I'm going to go around the edge of her face because that's where I want my shadows and the darkest places. And you can see I don't have a ton of water, so it's not running out immediately. That's exactly what I want, but it's wet, so I should be able to pull this out and soften up any of those edges. You can also scribble some of this if you're working on a glass mat. Pick it up with your brush and then kind of work it in as well. So just like that, so easy. And I feel like she's a little, let's bring you down in brightness just a tad so you can see that. That foil really just does such a, it does a number on the camera, if I'm being honest. Okay, so now we have that done. We probably have just the slightest bit of like skin right. Actually, let's do this a little, bring that there. And then we have just a little bit right there. Okay. This should dry fairly quickly. The other thing that I need to do is I need the packages because sometimes I'm getting a glare. And so I want to be able to look at this and see what those designs are. It's just, I'm going to have that off to the side so I can kind of see. Now I'm going to take, again, just a little bit of water and I'm going to start working on a few of these areas like the cuffs of her robe and probably like this V part. And I know that it's hard for you to see the lines. I'm going to come in with this pink first. And I'm going to add it towards the edges because that's where I want it to be darkest. And then I'm going to do this and just kind of spread it out. Now here's the deal. Can you use like a water brush to do this? Like the kind that has the water in the brush already? You totally can. However, you may find that you have a little more control over the amount of water that you're using if you're using like a brush with some, like a container of water. So that's why I tend to use a brush with a container of water, because I feel like I have a little more control. Now, what you're going to want to do is work in areas that are not directly next to each other, and do those areas first, and then you can come back and add more color later. But if I add water to the robe that's butting up to her cuffs right now, those colors could mix together. All right. So what should I work on next? I'll work on the fan, and I'll give those cuffs a little bit of time to dry. I'm just going to add a little bit of water. Now, if the color is not moving as much as you want it to right away, what you can do is add a little more water. So just keep that in mind. And what I think I'm going to do for her fan is I'm going to do this bright green. So I'm going to add that. You can see I added a little bit more water to her fan. It's moving out a little bit more on its own, and I'm just going to then help it and push it out. So I'm getting like a base layer of color. I'm going to actually sop up a little bit of that water, and then I'm going to add a darker green towards the bottom and get a little bit of shading for that, and then move that out. Okay. So now we have a fun little green fan, and then if I wanted to add even more shading, I'll just go in with pure color and just leave it. Now, because this is a dye-based marker, it's kind of water-based, you can see that the foil is maintaining. It's not like picking up any of the color that is being added from the marker. So we're getting really great results because we're not using something that's pigment based, you know? Okay, so now that we have that, let's go ahead and add some water to her robe. And we're gonna do the background of her robe. So I'm gonna do this part here. Laser printers are the ones you can foil on. With the right foil, yes, you can use a toner reactive foil with a laser printer and like print your own sentiments and stuff. Honestly, I have found it's hard to get super great results with that. I've done it in the past. I think it's one of those where you get hit and miss with that. That's just my opinion on that. So just keep that in mind. It can be a little frustrating. Okay, so I'm adding some water in to the background of her robe. I'm trying to keep my head out for you guys, out of the shot. And I'm just making it a little bit damp. I'm not going crazy with the water because I don't want it to carry into other areas. So I'm going to start with that, and then I'm going to grab this color here. This is Lush Green, and I'll just pick it up off of my glass work surface. So I'll just scribble a little down, and then we will add it and just kind of work it out. And I'm having a hard time seeing where the lines are just because of the glare of the foil and the lights that I'm working under. I work under some pretty intense lights for the filming, and so sometimes that foil glares back at me and it's hard to see. So I'm going to go up here, add some color. I love this color when it blends out. It's so beautiful. It's an intense color, but because we're using it with water, we can get some really beautiful shades out of it. Okay, let me flip this up a little bit, just so I can see where the edge of my florals are. I picked probably the hardest one in the whole set to kind of do on camera. But, you know, it is what it is. Marianne's here. Hello, Marianne. Glad you could make it today. We're taking our time. We're doing a little watercolor today. And if you don't have it perfect, it's watercolor. It's not supposed to be perfect. Okay, so let's go into our backgrounds here. That may not have been background, but that's okay. And like I said, I have the packaging for the press plates off to the side also so that I can kind of see the lines a little bit better without the glare of the foil. Okay, we're gonna come around the fan, and I'm using a really fine brush because it makes getting into some of these smaller spaces a little bit easier. Now, if you are not a watercolor person, that's totally fine. You could press these with some permanent black marker or a Copic friendly marker using your Betterpress system. And you could color these with Copics, or you could color them with colored pencils. So you don't have to do this with watercolor. So isn't this cute? Kel says that she's had success with Brother laser printer to foil. I did tweak my laser printer settings to improve toner fixing or something like that. Okay. I tried it. I got, like I said, hit and miss results. If it was like maybe a delicate sentiment, I did okay with it, with that and a ink machine. But if it was something super solid, I found that I didn't always get great results. Okay. So now we have our background kind of done. And if you want to go in and add like a little more color somewhere, you could add just touches of color. Like if I wanted it a little heavier there, and then bring some of that color with my damp brush into other areas. But I kind of like the different shading. Okay, so let's do this. And, okay, I love her. She's adorable. All right. I'm gonna pick up some of that extra water that's there just so I don't accidentally put my hand in it. Now, I think what I'll do is I'll come in with my green on the leaves because this will help me when I'm going in to do my florals. So if I could find the little leaves first and just get those colored in, then I'll know kind of the rest of this is floral and I can work on that. So I'm gonna just do that, get the green on the leaves, and this may not even need a whole lot of blending out. Let me look here. I'm just tilting this up so I don't get as much glare so that I can see my leaves here. Okay. And I think I'll just leave those like they are. I don't even think I need to blend them out. Do you see that? Even if they're not all the way. And then I am finding some areas that I didn't go in with the blue. So now that I'm kind of mapping out some of these areas, it's easier to find background areas. Maybe I should have done this reverse. Maybe I should have done the florals first and then done the background. Maybe that would have been easier to see the background. So over the florals, I'm going to add just a little bit of water. And I need to flip that up again so I can kind of see what's happening there. Looking at my packaging. And then I'm going to take this, which is the Skin 201. I'm going to go in with all of this. I'm going to add it directly to the florals that I've already added water to. And then I'm going to blend it out. Okay. Alrighty. So this is kind of one of those techniques where it's like, take your time, enjoy the ride, enjoy the moment and the process. It's not going to be like the quickest in the world, right? And this really, I know that this looks fantastic in these colors, but I'm actually going to go over this pink with a purple. So I'm basically adding like an underlayer here for my flowers, and then we're going to go over it with a more purpley color. And now can see some areas that I need to fill in with some of the other colors, like right there, but we'll go back and do that at the end, okay? So we have this. I'm gonna actually hit her with a heat tool. Just real quick to dry those florals. And then we're gonna go in with the purple, because the layered purple over the pink looks fantastic. In fact, while we're doing this with the pinks and the purples, let's take and do these cherry blossom kind of florals over here. Adding water just to the images first, the outer petals. Really quick, I'm doing like more of a loose watercolor style on these florals. And I'll take this pink and add the color just towards the center. And you can see it's already kind of leaching out in the water. Charlie is upset about something. So I'm just gonna let that kind of leach out. And, ooh, I just flung water. Do the same thing on these florals. Are they toner-based images? I must have missed part of that conversation there. Tailored Expressions has a lot of toner foils that coordinate with stamps and stencils. Okay. So that may be another opportunity to look for, you know, images to foil. Now I'm getting some hard lines on these florals that I do not love. So I'm going to scribble some of this marker, and then I'm going to bring in more color with a damp brush to kind of soften that out. We're going to go over those areas anyway with the purple here in just a bit, but blending out with that color right here will do us some favors later on. Kind of soften that out. Okay. Now I'm going to go here to the leaves. I'm going to wet the leaves and we'll do the green. This is the, which one's the darker? Let's do this one first. It's really electric green. Blend out. And then come in with the darker green, add some shading. And blend out again. And I may even come in with a darker green with that than that in just a bit. But we'll let those kind of sit. You can see that they're beautiful. And then we can move back to our girly. All right. So this is where I want to bring in some of this purple. And I'm going to just come in and just start with the pen, adding the purple to some areas. And then I'm going to take a damp brush and blend it out. Okay. Everyone, I'm sorry for all the questions. I'm fairly new and trying to gain so much knowledge. It's okay. That's why we're here. We are a community that shares our knowledge with each other. Isn't that purple so pretty over that pink base layer? Love this. Now, I have to be honest with you. The hair is what's intimidating me the most about our little girly. And I did kind of a test image ahead of time. And I don't love how the hair turned out. And so I'm saving the hair for last. It's just what I'm doing. Okay, so bringing in some of that purple, blending it out. Oh, I love that. Okay, now we're also going to take the purple onto our little hair baubles, and we'll just add a little bit. They're such small areas, I don't want to like bring in a ton of water to begin with. And then we will just kind of blend those out. Even have probably just a little too much water on my brush for these, but we're making it work. Okay, that purple is beautiful. Then I'm going to take, I think, some of this pink that we used as our underlayer. This is the darker of the two pinks. I'm just going to do the, we'll do that eyeshadow, and we may have to bring in a little more intensity. So let's just do this. Okay. We may darken that up. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Now I'm going to take, we'll just finish off some of these areas that I'm seeing in the background. I'm going to an even smaller brush, which is a 3/0. And I'm going to go into a few of these areas where I feel like I missed the background, and there's not a ton once I add in my floral pieces, but there are a few that I want to get just to clean up the image a little bit. Okay. Oh my goodness, she's so cute. I love her so much. She's so adorable. Okay, now we have to do the hair. The part that I have been dreading, and I have a couple extra tools just in case. But here's what I didn't like about my first girl that I just kind of played with. And I didn't like that the hair ended up looking very blobby, like all one color. So I'm going to go in lightly with some water, and I'm going to bring in some color, and then we'll blend it. But I'm going to try not to do color over the entire thing. Now, am I a professional watercolor or colorist? No, I'm not. So we're just going to see what works and hopefully not ruin our girl. That's what we're going to do. Okay. So just adding some of this color in there, and then we're going to just kind of blend it out. So I want it to be darker along this baseline, like at the end of her bangs, and then kind of lighten up as it comes towards the center. Isn't she adorable? I think this imagery is so cute. And keep in mind, there are like layering dies. If you're not into the hot foil thing, you could get the Kokeshi layering dies. I think those are still available at scrapbook.com. And I shared that discount code from scrapbook.com earlier. If you use the code FUN, capital F, capital U, capital N, FUN, you can save an additional 12% off your order right now at scrapbook.com. And I'm not even sure how long that discount lasts. I just saw it in an email this morning. I do have links to scrapbook.com for some of these products that I'm using today. So just keep that in mind. Okay. How are we feeling out there? We having a good, relaxing Saturday? Might need a little more water. Okay. Now, do you see kind of, I'm scrubbing a little bit on this image. And the thing is that if I were using the Bristol Smooth cardstock, there is a chance that I would be like scrubbing too hard and then the paper would peel at this point. I'm going to let her dry for just a second. I'm going to come back to my blossoms and I'm going to add some water. I'm going to use a bigger brush because these are bigger images and that'll just get me more water more quickly. And we're going to bring this purple into these images as well. And I'm not quite sure what color I'm going to do the center yet. I might do like this really light skin pink that we did earlier. Okay, so then let's bring in that purple. Just around there. Okay. You can really see that purple moving because I have plenty of water around these. And we're going to blend it out. Irma says she's looking absolutely stunning. And Julie said, I'm falling in love with her too. She is adorable. Love her. With her little Minnie Mouse buns. That's what I would call them. Her little Minnie Mouse bun hairdo. Okay. Oh my goodness. Now you can see I'm not taking the color all the way to the edge with this purple, and I'm doing that on purpose. I want it to be like a purple to pink. And then I think what we'll do is on the centers, we'll use this lightest pink. Okay, so we'll grab, now I'm not loving her hair. I told you that could be a thing, but I have a plan. Because sometimes you just need a little black pen to make everything better. And we may just be using black pen to finish off her hair rather than try to watercolor the whole thing and end up with a result that we don't love. Okay, just do a little bit of color in the center. I'm going to pick up some of that water. I have a little too much. And I might grab just a little bit of a warm yellow. That's not it. That's not it. That looks so green. That's called rosewood. Look how green that looks. Crazy. Let's try this one. Is this going to be really orange? Okay, that could work. Little orange to that in the center. Oh, I love that. Can you foil on Bristol? You can. I did. The reason I didn't use Bristol for this today was because Bristol's good if you're only using like a tiny bit of water, but if you bring in too much water and you scrub over it, it can pill a little bit. And so I kind of experimented before we went live and decided that I liked this Arches hot press the most for today's technique. If you're using the Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers and like the little Zig blender pen, then the Bristol Smooth is really great for things like that. And if you're using maybe like a blender pen rather than water with these Karin Brush Marker Pros, that might be a really good thing for Bristol. So yes, you can foil on Bristol, and I did it prior to the live, but those are just some things to keep in mind. You got to consider how much water you're going to be using too. Now I have a Copic marker. I think we're going to just finish off her hair with the Copic. Here's the deal with the Copic though. If I go over the foiled areas, it's going to cover that area. So I'm being careful with the tip of my Copic to not go over the foil. I'm going to blend out some of these areas that I'm not loving. I'm going to make it a little bit darker towards the base. towards the top of her head and towards the bottom of the bang line. And we'll leave that little highlight there in the center. It looks like a hot mess right here. So that's why I wouldn't really want to do all the hair with Copic, but you could come in and kind of clean it up a bit if you wanted to with the Copic. Still some areas I don't love, but we'll see what we can do here. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to take a black Polychromos and I'm going to blend at the edge where I brought in the Copic. I'm not going over the foil on this part because I don't want to cover my foil. This is like a wax base. So I'm just being careful where I add that. And then I think we're good. Let me just make sure that was nothing I needed to attend to. It's not. Okay. Carrie, Gina K, Jennifer McGuire, and I think Simon Hurley have videos where Jennifer McGuire shows using a delaminator. Okay. Add some black with that just to her eyes, and then I think I'll take my tiniest brush and I'm gonna flick on, oops, I just colored my hand, a little bit of purple into the area above her eyes. Okay. Oh my goodness, she's so cute. She's so cute. Okay. Let me just come in here a little bit more colored pencil. Just to certain areas. Okay. I think sometimes you get to a point where you're just like, leave well enough alone. Right? So maybe we're just gonna leave well enough alone with her hair. Like I said, not an expert in coloring, but I enjoy doing it every now and then. Okay, I think she's good. You can see we still have the foil. We might do something more with her hair. The hair is the part that I knew I would struggle with. So, all right, let's pick up all our watercolor stuff. We're gonna set it to the side. We'll move our water because I tend to spill things. I'm gonna move you guys out. I'm gonna move that out just like that. And what I think we'll do is go ahead and die cut all of our little things. So, let's do our little girl. And I did want to tell you that this press plate set does include some word dies that you can use as well. So if you're looking for a sentiment, it actually comes with sentiments that are dies, that are not press plates, but are dies. So those are kind of fun. Okay, let's cut her first. If I mess her up, we're going to be in big trouble. All right. I'm going to move that out of the way, and we have our little Kokeshi doll. Still don't love her hair. And then I'm going to grab the blossoms here. And let's die cut these. So this is a one-piece die that's going to cut all of our blossoms at the same time. And we're going to do those. And then we have our sentiments that we can either watercolor the strip or we could refoil them on colored cardstock. I'm not sure what I want to do yet, but do this. And I am wanting a little bit darker green in some of these areas. So I'm going to add it, but I'm not even going to watercolor it out. I'm just going to give it some shading. Okay. Maybe we'll be happier there. Joy says she likes her hair the way it is. Well, great. I love that. I think I'm just seeing this big foil thing. You see the foil lines? And I think that that's what's like messing me up about her hair. Like has these natural foil lines in it, and I keep thinking like it's a gap in my coloring, but it's really not. Let me do this too. There's a couple little places where I really just want to clean it up. Okay, yeah. Actually, I think that helped a little bit. I actually think I'm going to use one of these sentiments as they are and maybe just color over watercolor it. So I'm going to die cut the thank you, which we did earlier. There's 4 sentiments: thank you, love you, for you, and miss you in this press plate set. That is the flowers and blossoms. So you have some variety of sentiments that you can use. Actually, it may be cute in just the white banner. Let's cut out love you too, just so we have it for one of our other girls, because I have those 2 other foiled gals that I can color later. And then we have that parasol background too, which we could watercolor. Okay. So now we have our sentiments die cut. We have our little gal. We have our florals. I'm not loving the florals. I may mess with them just a little bit, although they kind of are more of an afterthought. So maybe we don't, I mean, they're just kind of going to be my background. So maybe I don't mess with them too much. Maybe I just let them be. Okay. I'm so proud of myself. I came home from the gym and went into hyper mode and cleaned my house so I could enjoy Carissa live today. Julie, that's great. What a good, you went to the gym and you cleaned your house. Wow, you are killing it today. Okay, do we want an embossing folder in the background? This is the question. Could be cute. All right. I'm thinking, let's see. Oh my goodness, this is adorable. Okay, I have an idea. I honestly did not have, I had a plan, but not like a total plan when I started this. And now I'm thinking I love this on the purple. This is Mulberry from Spellbinders. And I think what we'll do, I'm going to grab, I've been doing a little bit of purging in my craft room, having to remove some discontinued items and that sort of thing. I'm thinking the Essential Stylish Ovals from Spellbinders. Maybe one bigger than that. Okay, so let's try that. Let's die cut our mulberry cardstock using that. Of course we want that background. This is such a cute background, and it would go with a lot of different things because the overwhelming feel of it is floral rather than the fans, although it is like a floral fans background. Let's do this. I think she's going to be adorable. This is kind of why I brought the purple in, to kind of pull in this mulberry color. And let's just place this in here. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to do this with the Anna Griffin Empress. Okay, that's too thin. Let's try this. I don't know. That feels like it might be too thick. Okay, I'm not gonna risk it today. Not live. We're not gonna break anything live today. I am instead gonna bring in my trusty Platinum 6 that tells me exactly how to do this. So, 3D embossing folder is the platform base, which is this, the 3D embossing folder with the paper and then the adapter plate. So I'm gonna do that. I just have a drawer where I keep all of these plates. Okay, let's do this. And, oh my goodness, look at all that texture. So cool, and you could definitely see the fans. I love that. Okay, and then we're gonna take our little girly. We're going to take our little florals and I think we can just make the most adorable little grouping here. And then this will just go on a card. How cute is this? We might switch these. Let's switch. Oh my goodness. I love that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is why I bought this, because I think it's so cute. Let's bring you in just a little. Okay, so let's start doing a little bit of adhering. So I'm going to pick these up one at a time. And I'm going to add foam adhesive. I know foam adhesive is not everybody's thing, but I love me some foam adhesive. On screen, can't see it. Did I move something? Thank you. It's a really cute card. As cute as you are, Carissa. You're as cute as a button. Well, thank you. That's so sweet. I'm going to just put like these down. Actually, before we put that down, let's put our little girly down. And this is too high. Too high. Okay, she's a doll. She is a doll. Literally, Kokeshi doll. Works out, right? Okay, let's do this. I have just foam adhesive on the very bottom of her and on the top of her head so that I can put it on around these florals. Maybe. And trim that down. Oh, hello. Put your oval straight before you try to put things on it. I always say that's the first rule of making everything straight on a card is start with it straight on your surface. If you don't have it straight on your surface, you're gonna definitely adhere it kind of crooked. Okay, there we go. She's on there good now. Now we'll take this and kind of put it there. So we're having like this swoosh come down. I'm going to move this a little bit higher up there. Then we're going to add our thank you. We'll put it over the top, but we'll put it on foam adhesive. I'm happy you colored her dress kid colors. Well, I just thought they were pretty colors. I don't know. I would wear these colors. Hi, Tina. I'm glad you're here too. Okay, let's do that. Let's just put a little foam towards the top. Maybe we'll, okay. Let's do that. Mulberry, that is. That's correct. Mulberry. Did I say something different? It is one of my favorites from the Spellbinders ColorWheel cardstock. It is just such a beautiful purple. Mulberry and orchid. I love their mulberry. I love their orchid. I love their seaside and their ocean breeze, ocean side. Love those colors. I'm just trying to see where I want this guy. And maybe we don't need him. Maybe we don't need him at all. Let's get it on a card and then we'll decide. Do we want it? Do we not? Because we don't have to use every little piece. How are you ever going to give this card away? Has to be a super special person. I'll probably give it away. I mean, I'll need a thank you card and then I'll be digging in my stash and be like, oh yes, I want to give this one away. That's generally how it goes. Like, oh, I need a thank you card. What do I have? You know, honestly, we're at an hour and 15 minutes. So while we did a lot of coloring, I've spent this amount of time creating a card with you guys that, you know, has taken just as long that didn't have the coloring. So it really isn't too bad. And we talked a lot about like cardstocks at the beginning and why I chose what I chose to foil on today because of the watercolor and the foiling. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, it's been an hour and 15 minutes. We did quite a bit of watercoloring, but honestly, I mean, I've spent just as much time on other cards. I kind of like it like this. I don't know, we might do that. Let's figure out what kind of card base we want to put this on. Okay, I'm going to move you guys out just a little bit again because otherwise I get to the where I'm like creating and I forget. Should we put it on the foiled background? I don't know. I feel like that's a bit much. Okay, we can, you guys can vote. We can put it on the foiled parasol background, which feels like a lot of pattern to me. I don't know. Or we could go more simple. Let's see what it looks like on one of my other favorites from Spellbinders, chiffon. Oh, I think that's it. Yeah. You guys can vote. Let me know in the comments. We can do the parasol background or we can do chiffon, but I think chiffon has my heart. So you guys let me know in the comments and I'm going to continue to work on this card base. I don't think it's too much. You don't? Feels like a lot. I don't know. Feels like a lot to me. I love it on this though. I do love it on the chiffon. I think it's so pretty on the chiffon. Chiffon, more simple. Oh, you know what? That wasn't a full half sheet. I had cut some off of it. Let's trim this down. Chiffon. We have a lot of votes for chiffon. Have a couple votes for the parasol background, the foiled parasol background. But let me know. let me know. Still, less is more. Chiffon, foil it on the chiffon. We could, but I'd have to wait for my foil machine to heat up again. I don't know if I want to do that. I kind of love the simplicity of just this. Okay, here's something to consider. Maybe it needs another layer. And you know how much I love to use my precision layering dies. Parasol, chiffon, chiffon. I'm going to use one of the Precision A2 layering. I'm going to use it on this one that I thought was big enough for a card base, and it's not. So I'm going to die cut this. So we're going to do this. Let's die cut that. I feel like you guys are about 50-50 on the parasol versus the chiffon, but I feel like maybe I've seen a few more of the chiffon. I'm digging it on the chiffon. I think the florals look great on the chiffon. So I'm leaning towards that. Okay. I'm thinking maybe something like this. I could have gone slightly larger probably on that layer. Let's grab a white card base here. And I'm thinking maybe something like this. Oh, I love that. Okay, don't be mad at me. But now you all know when you're making this card at home, if you want to do the chiffon, you totally can. And I think I like this. I think I like the layer of chiffon on a white card base. I have something in mind for the parasols when I get the stencil. Carissa, you do you, whatever you think is best. Thank you, Jenny. I generally do. I always say I reserve the right to veto whatever you guys vote for. If my gut tells me to go a certain way, I generally will go that way. And my gut is telling me chiffon on this one today. The layers. Isn't that cute? Oh, I love this. This is the one I just don't know what I want to do. Do I want to stick it behind here? Kind of like it like that. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, let's do, should we do more dimension? I know it's going to be a fatty card, but I kind of like it that way. Okay, we're just going to go for it. More dimension, because more is more, you know? More is more. Make another one with the opposite background. I have something I want to do today, and I think I'm going to go do that. And so I'm going to let you guys get on with your Saturday as well. Hopefully I've inspired you and you want to like go and create and craft today. Maybe try some watercolor techniques. Maybe you picked up a tip or two from an amateur here. I hope that you enjoyed that kind of slow crafting today. We weren't in a hurry. We just did what we needed to do. You have completely captured the vibe of these products, says Julie. Well, thank you. I'm going to just remove the backer from this. Now, I find that a 3D textured background like this, foam adhesive, totally the way to go. Oh, a black frame would be pretty, Betsy, but we're already locked down, so we are committed. Look at my screen to see if I have everything where I want it. Okay, she is a doll. She literally a doll. I keep saying that, but she's cute. In my house, we call it a doorbell, short for adorable. So she's a doorbell. Gold foil would be really pretty too. Here's the deal. Sometimes it bothers me when I foiled something and my cardstock doesn't exactly match the foiling that I've done on like my image or something. So sometimes I won't do foil for that reason. Why are we not setting down here? She's not cooperating. I'm gonna do a little surgery here on her. She needs the foam on the back of her head over here. Okay, now she'll sit better. Okay, and then we have that flower coming out the back. Love this. I love this. The black would accent her hair. It sure would. But we're already locked in, so we made that commitment. Is that on speaking into the microphone is spelling the words the way it wants? I don't know what that is. All right. So there's our little watercolor on foil. So cute with our Kokeshi dolls. This is a few products from the Spring in Kyoto collection from Alex Siberia and Spellbinders. I hope you enjoyed this project and a little Saturday crafting. I do have a couple of live streams scheduled for next week. And don't forget, I do have the links to the products used in this project in the YouTube description below. So if you want to shop, you can save 12% at scrapbook.com using the code FUN, F-U-N. I don't know how long that code lasts, but they usually have like a coupons and deals portion of their site where you can check that out. I do have a couple of lives scheduled for next week. Let's see. The 18th, which is Wednesday, I will be live here on my YouTube channel at 1 Pacific time. We'll go back to that 1 o'clock time. And then also we'll do our regular Friday live at 1 o'clock on the 20th here on my YouTube channel as well. So have a couple of live streams coming up for you guys next week. I will also be live on the Pinkfresh Studio YouTube channel Tuesday at noon Central Time, which is 10 Pacific. So have a lot coming up. There's a couple of recorded, pre-recorded videos coming up as well. And so I'm getting ready for all the fun. There's a lot of Christmas stuff coming out in July. So we'll probably do some Christmas and July stuff during the month of July. And in fact, I told Mr. Glitter when he agreed to a live stream, he wants to do a shaker card. I told him that we could probably do like a Christmas shaker card and do with the Christmas and July theme. So does anybody have any questions before I head out for the day? I thought of something that I totally want to check out to try to do today. I'm going to be playing with my laser a little bit, I think. So I'll head out to the garage where it's nice and hot here. Let's see what the high is going to be here in Central California today. Maybe I might change my mind. High of 97. So it's not as bad as it could be. So anyway, great live. Thank you so much. I want to thank you all for watching, whether you're watching live here and you're commenting in the chat, or if you're watching on the replay. I would love for you to leave me a comment at the YouTube video. Leave a comment there in the comment section. I do read them all. I appreciate all of you. I hope, like I said, that you were inspired. I hope you had a great time. And I hope I will see you all next week as I go live here on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day. Thanks so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe and turn on the notifications here on my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of my card making and paper crafting video tutorials. Thanks again, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.